Jay Chanrasekhar, welcome to An Actor Despairs. How are you doing?
How are you, Ryan?
It's so great to have you on, man. I wanted to save this for when we started recording. Is like you've been such a hero of mine. The Super Troopers. It's hard to believe I was 10 when that came out, and the movie changed my life. And I think the beautiful thing about comedies, man, is they're they're shot at immortality, and they're one of the few things left, especially in today's age, that like unites people. It brings people together. It's something that we can all just laugh and have a good time. And I'm an actor, but I did my share of directing growing up, and that film was such an impetus for me of like being able to create your own content. At that time, that was so rare because it was still like you had to raise $5 million, you had to get into Sundance. And that film, I like, there's so few viewing experiences I remember in my life. And that was just one of the best experiences of my life. And I followed your career ever since then. So just wanted to thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah, means a
Um,
lot.
it
So
was, I mean, I guess we'll get to it, but
yeah.
yeah.
So you grew up in Chicago, right?
I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, Hinsdale, and I went to high school in another suburb of Chicago called Lake Forest Academy, where I was a boarding student.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
so yeah,
My dad grew up in Elgin. I don't know if that's any close at
yeah,
all.
it's sort of on the way to Lake Forest. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. And what was that experience like? Because obviously Second City's there and, all that'll probably come later. But did you have an idea of the theater and kind of comedy background that Chicago had to offer?
I mean, I was a big Saturday Night Live fan, like everybody else, and I was aware that Second City had been, the primary feeder for the original cast of Saturday Night Live. So, Belushi was from Chicago, and Aykroyd was obviously from Canada. But I mean, it was part of the city's pride that we had a comedy scene that was so central to the country's comedy scene.
Totally. And were your parents artists or?
No, they were. My dad was is he's a retired lung disease doctor. My mom is a retired radiologist.
Wow. Okay. So then how did this kind of like who curated the arts for you? Were you like watching SNL with your parents, or where did this path start to emerge for you?
I mean, I watched it with my friends. I watched SNL. I watched Monty Python. My friends' older brothers showed us the Holy Grail, and
Oh man, the
um,
best.
uh, and ultimately, I connected with it just like anybody else did. But I was separately, I was separately kind of a funny kid, I suppose. Like I
Yeah.
was going for laughs a lot, dressing up in my mom's furs and high heels and just whatever, just cracking a lot of jokes. And so
Yeah.
but there was no sense of a career. There was no sense of career in anything. Maybe I thought maybe I'd be a heart surgeon because I'd seen it on MASH.
Yeah.
I saw Alan Alda massage a heart and have it come back to
Oh
life, and I'm
man.
like, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I was a freshman in high school, and freshman boys in high school don't have it that easy, and I didn't really, I wasn't really landing on anything, and I wasn't really loving the place. And my sister was 2
The
years
place
older.
meaning the high
Lake
school.
Forest Academy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
My sister was 2 years older. Was like, why don't you join the play? She goes, I'm in the play. I'm in the chorus of the play, and you can meet a lot of people, and it's fun. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, what am I doing? Be a play? Like, it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, why would I be in a play? And I'm like, all right, screw it, I'll do it. So I went and auditioned for the play, and I figured, I'd get in the chorus or whatever.
Do you
And
remember what it was?
no, but they
Okay.
didn't. I didn't get cast.
Oh
Um,
man.
and I was pissed. I was like,
You wanted it.
Don't you let everybody in? I mean, I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I didn't want it. I was just
Yeah.
pissed that they didn't give it to me, because I'm like, I mean, even in the thing that they let everybody in, I'm not good enough. And it was that rage that has fueled me my whole career. Not just the rage about that play, but the rage about show business. Like, and it continues. Look, I've made something like 9 or 10 movies. I've directed 150 episodes of television.
Yeah.
I've done stand-up for
Just for laughs. Some of
30 years, and I still act. I tell my friends, I'm like, people say I can't make this movie, but I'll show them. And they're like, nobody said you couldn't make it. Everybody said, everybody knows you're going to make it. I'm like, nah, but people don't think I can make it. I'm like, I'll make it. And it's this fury at being, not included, which is not true anymore. But it still gets me going. Like I'm writing a novel, and I'm like, they said I couldn't write a novel, and I wrote it. And I'm like, I'll show you. It's important for me, this fantasy person who keeps telling me I can't do things. It's important to my progress.
I think, for some people it can be crippling, but for similar to myself, it can be the thing that ignites us, even when things like, I'm sorry, I got this trash beard right now. I booked a show that I got to film next week that requires it. But it's like, even now I still feel like, I got to prove them wrong. I got to prove them that I'm the one, so I totally relate to that. And I'm curious then, what made you not walk away from drama? Like you came back, obviously, at some point.
I was so annoyed that I auditioned for the next play. And that play was Brigadoon. It was a Scottish like drama where it was a musical. And I not only got in the chorus, I had a line. I sang a line in that play. And I tended to say things even in a drama, and I would get laughs. And I don't know if that meant I was a bad dramatic actor or I was just a compelling actor. I don't know. Yeah. But I enjoyed it. Like, I did it, and I'm like, that was fun. And of course, the competitive part of me ignited, and I started auditioning for all the plays. And soon I was the lead in all the plays. Like, eventually, me and a couple other actors, we were the leads. And so when I graduated, I went to Colgate University. I started auditioning for the plays there, and I was, again, I was sort of the lead in a lot of those plays. So it, once I understood what theater was all about, and I was in Death of a Salesman and all these things, I really, it felt like the right kind of thing for a guy like me to do.
That's beautiful. And do you feel like in high school, that's where that awakening of, like, talked about freshmen not knowing, like, oh, this is what I want to do. I'm interested in this. I like this.
Well, it wasn't realistic to do it when I was in high school. I'm like, it didn't even occur to me, even though I was acting. I even went down. Martin Scorsese was shooting a film called The Color of Money in Chicago, starring Paul Newman and Tom Cruise, and they needed extras. And so they called our school, and our acting teacher took us down, and we were extras in the movie. And I got to watch Scorsese and Newman and Cruise like shooting all these pool scenes, and it was supposed to be Atlantic City. It was in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And I'm in the movie, and it was thrilling to watch, but I didn't really know what the hell was going on. Like, I was kind of watching it, and there were like these huge delays in between while they lit, and you're like, what's happening there? But we were just sitting there watching it because we were the crowd at a pool hall. Not a pool hall, pool tournament. So it was
okay.
There was 1,000 people there. And it was, there was a scene where Tom Cruise quits the tournament, Paul Newman quits the tournament. He walks by a crowd, and we're all supposed to go, what? And we did that for 8 hours.
That's awesome.
And I still didn't know what the hell was going on. I just saw Scorsese and Tom Cruise and Paul Newman all huddling and whispering to each other and laughing. And then they'd get out and they'd shoot something. And I'm like, I got to get into that conversation. Somehow I got to be in that conversation. And I eventually realized that I was there. Like, I am now in that conversation all the time.
Yeah.
I'm on sets whispering and chatting with the main actors, and I'm like, okay, here's what we're gonna do, and then you got to do this, and we light it. Like, I'm in that conversation now, and it's as good as I thought it was going to be.
Oh man, I needed to hear that. Thank you for that. That's so beautiful. And so then getting to Colgate, you mentioned, and you've hinted before at comedy, was there an improv troupe there, or is that where Broken Lizard, like, you decided to create that?
There was nothing. There was just University Theater, which I auditioned for, and was it. And then a friend of mine named Jonathan Glatzer, who now writes for Succession, he started a thing called the Kinetic Theater Group, and that was a student-run theater group that competed with the University Theater, and it was a little more avant-garde and pretty exciting. And I was in a couple of those plays in the first year that it was created. And when the second year of Kinetic Theater Group, Jonathan Glatzer had to go to London to do a semester abroad, and he wanted to keep his theater group that he created going. And so he asked 4 of us to do one-act plays under the Kinetic Theater banner.
Original works, or?
Well, no, I mean, they were whatever plays. Okay. Let me back up. My junior year, I went, at Colgate, one semester of your junior year, most people go abroad and they do a thing in London or Paris or Moscow, wherever, right? I went to Chicago, and I said, I've had a lot of success as a theater actor, but I got to decide whether I'm going to give show business a try. And I'm like, I can make my friends laugh all the time, but they know me, right? So I was like, if I can make strangers laugh in Chicago, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give show business a try. So I went to Chicago. I signed up for this. My friend was in this thing called the Improv Olympic, which was a spin-off of Second City. It was like these 40-minute fully improvised shows. Second City is actually just, it's sketch that they improvise on top of.
Yeah. I've been there once. Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's bad. It's great, but that's what it is. The Improv Olympic was, the suggestion is hot dog, and then you do 45 minutes on whatever you think of based on that hot dog.
Wow.
And so I was in a class with, Chris Farley. It was
no way.
It was a class where they put beginners with experts, and he was an expert. I was a beginner. This guy, Dave Keckner. I mean, there are all these.
Dave, I loved it. Dave is like the hero of mine, the best.
So I was 19, and I was hanging out with these dudes and partying quite a bit. And they were in the best improv group in the country, Beer Shark Mice. I was in the worst improv group in the country because we just started and we were terrible. I mean, we would do these 40-minute shows where, I don't know, I don't think they ever laughed.
Who was the audience? Just like
the poor suckers who paid to watch this. I mean, we were up there bombing and struggling, and I can tell you this: my test of did I make strangers laugh? It wasn't working. So I was like, well, that doesn't work. And I thought, if that's my ability, then I'm not going to do it. But I said, I have a feeling I'm not done yet. So I wrote 10 minutes of stand-up, and I signed up for a open mic on a Monday night at a place called the Matchstick. And I went up and I did my 10 minutes. I was so nervous I raced through it in 5 minutes, but I got laughs. Wow. I got strangers laughs, and I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. And I went back to Colgate, and I was bragging about what a big, great improviser I was and how I knew Chris Farley, and that part was true. But I'm like,
already who he was.
Chris had gone into Second City, and then it jumped over to Saturday Night Live very quickly.
Got it. So right before the crossover.
Yeah. So people knew Chris Farley from Saturday Night Live. He was the new guy on Saturday Night Live. I'm like, I know that guy. And so I was like trying to pretend like I was, somebody. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, I was doing improv with Chris Farley and all this shit. And so now the Kinetic Theater Group thing happens, and my friend Jonathan, now he's going away for his semester. He's a year younger. His semester away, he's going to London. So he calls four of us and says, hey, will you do a one-act play? Like Paul Soder, who's in my group, was going to direct one called The Milkman by Ray Bradbury. And then two other people were going to do one-act plays. There was no comedy group yet, right? So Jonathan said to me, he goes, why don't you do an improv group? Start an improv group, just like all that great improv you were saying you were doing in Chicago. And I was like, yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will start an improv group. And so I called my friend Kevin Heffernan, who played Farva in the movies.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, let's start an improv group. We'll do it for the Kinetic Theater Group, Chris Farley and all that business. And he goes, what are you talking about? Start an improv group. And Kevin had done no acting in college.
Oh, wow. I would never have guessed that.
Last time he acted was as Captain Hook in third grade.
Man.
So he'd done something, but he was third grade, right? I mean, now we're 19.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm not doing a fucking improv group. What are you talking about? No way. He goes, our friends are so cynical. They'll laugh at us. It's not with us. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So I called Jonathan. I'm like, we're not doing an improv group. Sorry. And he was like shocked. But anyway, so now it's the summer between junior and senior year. I go to a Grateful Dead show. I camp out. I drop acid. I come back. I'm at my house. I'm like, kind of jelly-headed, and Jonathan Glatzer calls me and he goes, buddy, I need you to do this improv group. I got 3 people doing one act. You're the 4th. I need it. I need you to do it. I'm like, yeah. Okay, maybe I will do it. So I call Heffernan, and he's a dishwasher in Nantucket. And I'm like, let's do the improv group. I'm like, let's do it. Chris Farley, come on, dude, let's do it. And he goes, I already told you we're not doing it. I'm not doing it. No way I'm not doing it. And I'm like, so I called Jonathan Glatzer. I'm like, we're not doing it. You're right. He's right. We're not doing it. So then now I'm back at school. Now it's fall of my senior year. I'm in the basement of my fraternity house drinking. And it's Tuesday night, phone rings, payphone. And some freshman pledge is like, hey, phone's for you, some dude from London. And I'm like, oh, God. So I pick up the phone, it's Jonathan Glatzer. He goes, you're doing the improv group. It's a done deal. I already made the poster. It's a done deal. I didn't make the poster, but it's a done deal. Everything's happening. It's happening. And I'm like, fine. And I hang up and I go up to Heffernan's room and I'm like, it's a done deal. We're doing the improv group. We're doing it. And he goes, fine, fuck you, fine. So now we're doing the improv group. And I go around and I call all my friends who are funny and who are none of them who are actors.
Yeah, so they weren't actors. Yeah.
Well, 2 of them. I mean, Paul Soder was an actor.
Yeah, right.
But he wasn't even in the original group, and neither was Eric Stolhansky. It was just me, Kevin Heffernan, who I've made do it, Steve Lemmy, who had done a jeans commercial when he was 15, a breakdancing jeans commercial. Nice. And then, there was a performance artist. There was two friends of mine who were really funny women who were not actors. And then this other woman who was an actor, and she was funny. So it was just like, I just forced them to do it. And now we're doing this improv thing, and I'm teaching improv, and I'm like the least qualified person to teach it in the country. And so we're like doing these little games, and everyone's like, is that funny? I don't know. Is that funny? Nobody thought it was very funny. And the thing was losing steam. And I was like, you know what? Let me just tell you something. I'm the fucking worst improviser in the country, and this sucks. Let's not be an improv group. Let's be a sketch group. I mean, we're all like English and history majors. We write 30-page term papers. We can write a 3-page sketch. No problem. Let's create a Saturday Night Live type show. We'll just do sketches. And one of the guys who I'd cast was a freshman named Ted Griffin, who wrote Ocean's 11. And
the George Clooney or the Frank Sinatra one?
The George Clooney one.
Oh, wow.
And Idle Hands. He wrote about 5 or 6 things.
Yeah.
Ted was from Los Angeles, and he goes, "What if we?" He goes, "You want to do a Saturday Night Live thing? What if we did short films in between the sketches?" And I said, "Well, that's a great idea, because we have these we have these costumes that were like banana costume and mermaid costume. It's like we need time to change out of the costumes into the other costumes." I said, "We'll show the short films in between, so we'll make 3 or 4 of them," and that's what we did. Ted kind of directed them, and I kind of directed some, and then we couldn't afford an editor, so I had somebody teach me how to edit, and I'm kind of learning and figuring it out, and then we put on the show, and so now we have this show, and we're 300 seats in this sort of little makeshift theater, built a stage, and 30 people show up on the first night, and we were like, all right, well, you know what? It was definitely a funny show. Like, we knew it was funny. The audience was laughing, but there were only 30 people. So
what was the
like,
capacity or the hope?
300.
Oh, wow. Okay. Got it.
270 empty seats.
Okay.
That was the Wednesday night show. On Thursday night, there were 300 people there.
No way.
On Friday, there were 350. On Saturday, there were 400. We were like jamming chairs in, standing room only. And the thing just took off like a rocket. And we were like, oh my God, that was so exciting. And at the end, we're like, let's do another show next year. And so we did another show next year. And it was, that group, it was called Charred Goosebeak, is still going at Colgate now. Like, it's the group that I started. And when I moved to New York, we reformed under the name Brooklyn Lizard, and
okay.
And got it going there.
And because people are going to ask me, what were you shooting on at that time?
High 8 video.
Wow.
So it's like 8mm video.
Yeah.
Like a cassette that big.
Wow. That is amazing. Because nobody, people only now are like complaining about their iPhones. They don't realize how easy they have it. Like it's that's amazing.
I mean, it was hard. It was much more difficult. We were lighting everything with lamps and that sort of thing. So it was somewhat crude, but the good news is, unlike film, you can actually see what the image looked like on this little window.
Okay.
And you go, we need more light or whatever. And, like the early films videos were not great, but they were funny, but they were not shot well. And as we cut and edited, then each film became more complex and better because we were getting better. I was getting better at it. And I just learned, by trial, by error. And then eventually I'm like, well, I need an insert shot, and I need a wide shot, and I need this shot, and you can't pause that much in the line. So next time I'm like, you can't take out the pauses. And then, all these things that I know really well now, but at the time there was no film school at Colgate, so there was no one to teach me. It was
my exact question is, do you feel like that was your film school? Like, you literally had to learn and also, like, going back to what you were echoing on studying abroad or studying in Chicago, did that simultaneously achieve, like, you're learning directing, if not learned, and then also you made people like 300, 400, 450 laugh, did that ignite the flame of,
it was like a thunder, the laughter. It was so explosive that it was undeniable to us. Yeah. We were like, we have to get that feeling again. But the problem, I would say, that I was facing was, I've taken a bunch of people who are not actors, right? And none of them were thinking about becoming actors for a living, right? They were, we'll go be a lawyer or whatever. We just did it. They did it for me because they were funny and they were my friends. But once they experienced it, they were like, holy shit, this is exciting. And I convinced some of them to move to New York to try it again while they pursued their other careers. And, Kevin went to law school.
Oh, wow.
He's a lawyer. The other people, one was becoming a teacher, and was just, they were not actors. They were like, okay, we'll do it one more year, one more show. And it was like that. So now I was like, I'm going to give it a shot as an actor, but not as a director, because I was like, that seemed
and
like
not as a comedian either. Or...
I was still doing stand-up. I was never
okay.
stopped doing stand-up. But I was like, I don't know how. I mean, being a director was a mystery. Like, yeah, I could direct these little short videos, but that didn't mean I could direct a film. It didn't make any sense. Like, the jump was the money and the crew and the what do you do? I don't even know.
And distribution.
What the exposing the camera, the film, all that. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So, and I was looking at the acting thing, and I was like, there are no Indians on the screen. I'm like, there are. The one Indian was Ben Kingsley, who was in Gandhi, but the way that movie ended, they weren't going to make a Gandhi 2, right? So, I was, be the ghost of Gandhi, and that was, and whenever they had another Indian, they like Peter Sellers in The Party or Fisher Stevens in Short Circuit. They
Fisher's
put a white guy,
a friend. He's done the podcast twice.
Okay, well, they put Fisher Stevens in brownface, and they
in the robot one, right? Short Circuit, classic. Yeah.
So, I thought he did a good job, and I thought Peter Sellers did a good job, but the message I was getting was nobody wants real Indians on the screen. Yeah. Or if they do, they want you to speak with that Indian accent. And I was like, it's not really what has made me funny in my life, that accent. I can do that fucking accent and it's great. But what I imagine, the thing that's funny in my mind about me is the speed of my wit and the things that I say, not that I say it in a funny accent. So I was like, I had this problem. Like, how would I, like, because I didn't want to be the guy in the mini mart selling Brad Pitt a pack of cigarettes before he goes to bang Angelina Jolie. I wanted to be the guy banging Angelina Jolie.
Of course.
So I was like, how do I get that job? And I'm like, okay. So I said, I better learn how to write movies, because what I'll do is I'll write a 6'1" American speaking Indian dude into the middle of the movie. And then I did that. And then I was like, well, what if the director casts somebody else in this fucking movie?
Yeah.
So I said, I better learn I'm going to learn how to direct film so that I can force myself into this part. And that's what I did too. And so as a result of the fact that there were no Indians on screen, I learned how to write movies and I learned how to direct movies. And now I've done 9 or 10. I don't even know the number anymore. It's 10. And it's 150 episodes.
24 episodes of The Goldbergs. I mean, your work is incredible.
Right. And I've been in so many things. And it's because it's not necessarily because I'm the best actor in the world, though I think I'm good. It's because I write these things and I cast myself and then I direct the movies.
And I'm curious, was this in Chicago before moving to New York, or was this
was in New York?
Oh,
this was in New York. In New York in the 90s, we happened to be there during the independent
mafia. Oh, okay,
closure, right?
Yeah,
it was like Miramax was in downtown New York, and Kevin Smith made a movie for 25-30 grand.
Robert Rodriguez,
Robert Rodriguez, Richard Linklater, Whit Stillman. They were all making movies.
Sex, Lies, and Videotapes, right?
Yeah. And we were looking at all this. We were seeing every one of these movies, and we were looking at them going, we've been entertaining crowds since we were 19, and we've been shooting short videos since we were 19. We are at a much more advanced level than any of these fucking dudes, because they were all making their first films. Most of them were doing show business generally for the first time. We were way ahead of that. And so we said, let's make a movie that we can make, meaning a movie that we can raise the money for. It's not going to be a sci-fi movie. It's going to be a movie set at Colgate, where we went to school, and we'll get Colgate to let us shoot there. And And that's what we did. We made a film called Puddle Cruiser for about
I tried so hard to
$160,000.
get it. I couldn't get my hands on it.
Yeah.
Minus
We
the
own the
DVD.
rights.
Yeah.
We own the rights, and we got to sell it to somebody.
Yeah, you got to distribute it because I was so
Yeah.
interested and I was trying to find it on YouTube, but that's how did that experience go then, to kind of return to, the place where it all began and shoot this thing. Did you feel good about it?
Before we did that, I went to NYU Film School for a summer. And
you dropped out?
No, I was now graduated. I was in New York.
Oh, okay.
I was doing
I went
stand
to
up
NYU too.
I was doing stand up. We were doing Broken Lizard shows. I took a summer class at NYU, and I learned how to load a camera. I learned how to expose film. I learned how to cut film. I learned how to use a Nagra and record audio. I learned the scary part of it, the technical, how to light it, 3-point lighting. None of it I knew how to do that well, but I knew how to do it. Now I was like, it demystified all of that for me. It made me go, okay, it's not magic. Like the big barrier for so many people when they're like, well, what are all those people doing, and what's the machines, and how does it work, and like most people at that time, it's not like where you just turn your phone on and shoot a thing. You couldn't do that, right? You had to load a camera, you had to light it if you want, and the video quality of the video wasn't high enough to put it on. It didn't look that great. So film was the game, but film was a mystery. Anyway, I learned how to do that, and one of the guys I went to school with, he and I made a 30-minute film that was for his thesis, and it starred Broken Lizard. We wrote it. He directed it. I directed the acting, and we learned how to make a movie together on this film. It's called The Tinfoil Monkey Agenda, and it's like Wag the Dog. It's like we shot it in Florida, 30-minute film. And we learned how to make a movie on that movie, like a film on that. And so then when we made Puddle Cruiser, I directed it. I had some knowledge now. I did a little bit of and we hired crew, and we had a producer, and we shot this movie. And I was 25, and I'm like, sort of like, I think this is the right shot to do, and I think that's the right shot to do, and I think this is the right thing I didn't know, right?
And there weren't monitors like a video village to replay.
There were little monitors. They were
okay,
big.
Got it.
And so I was like, and I'm in it, right? So
yeah,
I'm like
directing yourself. Oh man.
But when we cut it together, again, because we couldn't afford an editor, I did it. I learned how to be an editor. I've now edited 9 films. I'm in the Editors Guild because of the lack of money. When we cut it together, it worked. Like everything flowed, and the jokes were rhythmic, and the movie worked. And it turned out that all the theories I had, I'm like, I think this is the way to go, and I think that's the shot. It turned out, whatever that innate filmmaker talent was, I seemed to have it. Wow. And we were watching it and go, this is a real movie. This works. And then we got into Sundance, and we showed it for huge crowds, and it killed. We had a couple offers for distribution, and we turned them both down because they didn't give us any money. They just wanted the film, and they would give us money if it made profit. But we said, nah. They were going to release it on 500 screens. We said, no. It was a mistake, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. You got into Sundance.
We sold the movie, and it home video, and it made plenty of money for all the investors. And then there you go. And then we tried to make another movie, which was Supertroopers.
And where did the narrative impetus for that come? Like, have you done sketches about cops? Like,
no.
It's so authentic to, now there's no shortage of police procedurals and things like that, but like you really tapped into something before it was kind of exposed outside of, I guess, what's that reality show?
Well, Police Academy had existed before we did, but I've still never seen Police Academy because I didn't like that the cop had his hat on sideways. I was like, it doesn't feel right to me. As a child, I was like, it doesn't look funny to me. Yeah. And I know people love that fucking movie. I still haven't seen it because I'm like, tonally as a child.
I haven't seen it either.
I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah,
so I never watched it. So, but I knew of it, obviously. And so we after Sundance, Harvey Weinstein hired us to write another movie for him. He wanted us to write a film. So we made a blind deal for a film. And we said, well, what should we make a movie about? And he goes, I don't care. You can make a movie about a cat in space for all I care. Just make a funny movie. And
so
we were
he
like,
believed in you guys. Like he was just make
right.
something. Wow. Okay.
So we then came up with a pitch for Mickleberry Cat in Space, and took him literally. And we went and pitched the president of production, Jack Leshner. And we were like, here's the idea. The United States government is training cats to go into space. The Chinese government is in a space race, and they see that we're training this cat. And they're like, so they kidnap the cat because they realize this is a very high functioning, intelligent space cat. And when they get it, they realize it's just a fucking cat. And so they release it back, and we get Mickleberry back, and we send the cat into space. And Jack Leshner's like, are you guys fucking with me? And we were like, nah. They're like, who are you in the movie? We're like, well, we'll be the scientists and stuff. And he goes, you're fucking with me, right? And we're like, no. Harvey said we should do a.
And this was live action.
Yeah, he said we should do a cat in space thing, and he's like, no. He said, do whatever the hell you want to. You could throw a cat into space, not do a movie about cat in space. Come up with another idea, you dimwits. And so we were like, all right, well, fine. And so then we ended up going to a wedding in Vermont on the border, in way up there. And on the way home, we were just like, we were looking at like, there's nothing going on up there. It's so desolate. And we were looking at this cop who'd pulled over these teenagers, and we were like, the funny thing about like teenagers back then is they were in a gang rap, and there was all these white kids are like talking tough, like, yo, what's up with the police?
Yeah, it was like MTV generation.
I put a cap in that bitch's head. Like they were, and we were imagining that, and then the cop pulls them over and how they turn into like totally scared pussies. And we thought, oh, that's a funny dynamic for a sketch. And then we were like, and then we said, what do these cops do all day? They have nothing to do up here. There's no crime. And we started to go, I wonder if we could do a movie about cops in Vermont where there's no crime and they pull over some stoned college kids. And that was the beginning. And we're like, and then what if there's no crime, so what if they just kind of fuck with the college kids and they fuck with other people? Hey, what if they do pranks? Hey, and then we just started writing sketches and stringing them together, and each pullover was its own sketch, which we were frankly very good at doing. We were good at writing sketches, and so we were really into weed at the time, so we're like, let's make it a weed plot, like, let's make it about smuggling weed. And we kind of built it from scratch. We just were like, we didn't know how to do it. There's a 3-act structure to every movie. We didn't know what that was. And so we showed the movie to Harvey Weinstein, the script, and he goes, because my president of production says it's hilarious, but he goes, I never know what's funny. And so I have no idea if this is funny. So I'm not going to make it, but you can have it back. I could kill it, because I could kill it. I could stick it on the shelf and not let you ever make it. But I like you guys, so good luck. You're on your own. And we were like,
mercy from a guy who's not known for that.
No, not known for mercy.
Yeah.
And so so then we're like, we went to October Films and we went to every single place in New York, and they were like, nah. With you guys are the stars? Nah, we're not doing it. And so then at this time we moved to Los Angeles, and we met. A friend of ours was George Clooney's assistant, and she's like, "I'll have George read it." And so Clooney read it. He had a deal at Warner Brothers with Soderbergh, and they were like, "Well, Clooney is like, this is great. Let's make it." And Soderbergh was like, "I'm not sure I get it." He goes, "What if you had the guys wear President of the United States masks over their heads while they pulled people over?" And I was like, He goes, "Because I don't know if it's funny as it is." And I'm like, I said, "It is funny as it is."
Yeah.
Because like in Point Break, how they had
Of course.
masks?
Yeah.
That's what he said. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, "You could do a version of that." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think so." And Clooney's like, "Nah, don't worry about him. You guys we'll get it made." And so he went to Warner Brothers, and they said no. He went to they said no. And he goes, shit, we can't get it done. And so then the Farrelly brothers read it, and they said, "Okay, we'll get Fox to make it." Fox was like, "No, not with these guys." Then this guy Bob Simons, who did some Sandler movies, was like, "Universal, make it. They'll make it. $5 million." But then he couldn't get enough money in the budget to pay himself, so he was like, "Sorry, deal falls apart." Then Clooney sends it to Danny DeVito's company, Michael Shamberg's Jersey Films. They're like, "We like these guys. Let's do a television show about Super Troopers." So then we go to John Landgraf, who now runs FX, and we make a television pilot for Super Troopers.
And this is before Reno 911 even existed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was set in Reno, our Super Troopers.
No way.
Jersey Television is also Reno, and this. I just say anyway. So
okay, that's all you had to say. Got it.
So Landgraf tries to get Fox to do it. They're like, "Nah, we don't know. We don't think so. We're not doing it." So they pass on it. Now we're like, "What the fuck?" So then Clooney says to Danny DeVito, and not even Danny DeVito, Michael Shamberg, who runs DeVito's company, he goes, "Come on, take a look, make this into a movie." And he goes, "All right, fine." So Shamberg gets on. So now we got Clooney and DeVito and Shamberg. They're our executive producers. And those studios are willing to give us the money.
Yeah.
And so we go to all the independent people, and every single, probably 50 of them all say no. One of them says, "I'll give you the money if Ben Affleck can play the thorny character." And I was like, that's my character.
Yeah.
And he goes, not in this picture, kid. And I was like, So we said no. And then I'm back in New York now, packing up my office, because I had an office there with Broken Lizard, and I'm closing it down, and I'm like, maybe we'll just fold up Broken Lizard, and I'll go to LA and I'll try to be an actor and see what happens. And if that doesn't work out, I'll go to law school in 3 years. And my phone rings. It's my friend Cricket. And she's like, "Hey, you're the only guy I know who's kind of in show business. And my dad is an investment banker, and he's retired. And he wrote a script, and he wants somebody to read it. And I don't really know anybody else. So do you mind?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." He said, "Would you talk to him?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So he calls me, and I'm like, "Hey," and he goes, "So I hear you're a writer." I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, we've written a couple scripts." And he goes, "Well, before I send you mine, why don't you send me yours? And let me just see if, let me just
taste a line."
And I'm like, "I see. We are auditioning me to read this script that I don't even want to read, but okay, fine." So I sent him the script for Super Troopers, and a week later, phone rings, and he goes, "Hey, Pete Legel." I said, "Hey." He goes, "Pretty good script." And I'm like, "Okay, I mean, what do you know?
Yeah.
You're a fucking investment banker."
Yeah.
He goes, "It's pretty funny." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." He goes, "What are you doing with it?" Well, I said, "Well, I mean, we're raising money, but And he goes, "Can you make it for $1 million too?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right, let's do it." And I was like, "What?"
Oh my God.
I go into my producer's office, and I'm like, "Fucking guy on the phone says he's going to give us $1 million too." He goes, "Bullshit." And I'm like, yeah, he's an investment banker at this place. And he goes, oh, and my producer used to be an investment banker. He goes, I know that bank. And so he calls up a friend of his. He goes, what do you know about Pete Langella? He goes, oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, okay. And he goes, yeah, he's one of the fucking partners. I mean, he's like a fucking real deal.
Shit.
He goes, let me get on the phone with him. And he gets on the phone with him. He goes, uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Okay, great. And he goes, he says he's going to wire the money. And we had the money in a week. I mean, we had the money in a week.
Oh my
God. And then we went and made the fuck. We
In
were the last
Vermont?
guy. We made it in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Oh, love Poughkeepsie. Yeah.
And it, you know, when we shot it, the thing about the opening scene was that everybody told us you can't open a movie on not the lead characters. You have to open the movie on the lead characters.
Yeah.
And the cops, they don't say anything. They barely say anything. You got to make the opening scene about the cops. And I'm like, well, it is sort of about the cops. I mean,
yeah, it establishes their
yeah, but the guy's like, no, but everyone's like, yeah, but the opening minute is just these fucking randos talking about bullshit, and you can't open a movie. It's just not how movies work. And we were like, we're gonna do it though. So we did it, right? And when we did it, I remember we ended up like the film. We showed it to some friends, and they were all like, "Yeah, it's really funny." And we're like, "I don't know. What do you know?" We hadn't been able to show it for a crowd, and we finished the film. We got in Sundance again. Finished the film the day before we went to Utah, and it was
like final
morning,
cut.
The final print. We were watching the final print, and we were like, this was the morning we were going to the airport to fly to Utah. And we're sitting in that room at Do Art Film Lab, me and Kevin and the color timer. And I'm like watching that first scene. And after the first scene, I'm like, stop the film. And I'm like, turn the lights on. And they turn the lights on. And I'm like, I look at Kevin, I'm like, that opening scene sucks. And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's terrible. Everyone was right. You can't start a movie on these dumb fucking college kids. And what the hell was I doing? Fucking Clint Eastwood. I don't say a damn joke in the whole thing. There's nothing funny about it. There's nothing funny about it. We're going to get killed in fucking Utah. And he goes, I like it. And I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And then the color timer is like, I think it's pretty funny. I'm like, shut up. Roll the goddamn film. Yeah. And we just sat there in the dark watching it like it was an execution coming. And I watched the rest of the movie, and I'm like, I said the rest of the movie's good, I guess, but that opening scene sucks. And so we fly to Utah, and now we got a midnight screening Thursday night, and we're in a bar at like 11:15, and we run into Harvey Weinstein, and I'm like, we're with Marisa Coughlan, who's in the movie. And she's like, I kind of know him. I'm like, get over there and tell him to fucking come to the movie. Yeah. And so she goes over to him. She goes, hey, Harvey, we're Supertroopers. And he goes, hey, come on over. And so I go over there. I'm like, Harvey, you're the reason we wrote the movie. You just said you didn't know if it's funny. It's funny. We made it. We're showing it in half an hour up the road. Come see it and buy the film. Be a great story. Yeah. And he goes, I can't come to the film. I got a meeting. Your film starts at 12. I have a meeting at 12:30. He goes, I can't. I said, well, come to the opening, go to the meeting, come back. He goes, if I leave your screening, don't you know anything? Your movie won't sell. Everyone will see me leaving. They'll be like, no one's buying it. And I'm like, well, we'll give you a seat in the back row. Come in, see it, and then you get out and come back. Yeah. And he goes, all right, fine. So we get to the screening. It is packed with stoned, and it's midnight. Yeah, people are stoned, drunk, and excited. They remember our film Puddle Cruiser. Everyone's all revved up, and Harvey Weinstein comes in, sits in the back row. Everyone turns and looks at him and goes, "Holy fucking shit!" And so the film starts, and I'm like, "Oh god, this fucking scene! It's so terrible." And there's little titters of laughter, and it's building. And suddenly there's fucking waves and waves of laughter. and I'm weeping from stress.
Oh.
And the film is rocking. I mean, first screening ever. And it's rocking. They're like ripping the seats out. It's so good. And then at 30 minutes, I'm pacing around in the lobby listening. And at 30 minutes, Harvey walks out. He goes, I'm coming right back. I'm going to meet, come right back. Don't sell this movie to anybody else. And he leaves, and nobody saw him leave. Then with a half an hour to go, he comes right back in, sits down. Place is going ballistic. At the end of the screening, it's like all these buyers are like, "Oh my god!" You know,
bidding
it's all
war.
the young all the
Yeah.
young buyers came, and they can't buy the movie because they're too young. And Harvey hasn't seen. He's like, "I got to see the whole movie. I can't just buy a movie. I haven't seen the whole movie." And so he comes up to me and he goes, "Send me the print." And I'm like, "We're not sending you the print. You have to look at the movie with the crowd, and then you decide whether you're going to buy it or not." And he goes, "Fucking pain in the ass." He goes, "All right, well, meet me at this bar now. I'm going to do you guys a favor. Meet me at the bar we were at, and then tomorrow everyone's going to see I'm with you, and this movie's going to sell. And also, you're going to be on page 6 tomorrow. You're welcome." And so we meet. You know, he leaves. All the other buyers come up, and they're like, "Don't sell it to Harvey. Please don't sell it to Harvey. Please don't sell it to Harvey. We're going to get our bosses to watch." We go to the bar. Next day, we're on page 6, which is like the gossip thing.
Yeah, the New York
and everyone's
Post.
like,
Yeah.
"Holy fucking shit, Harvey Weinstein with these Supertroopers people." And all the buyers are like, "Don't sell it to Harvey." And we have another midnight screening on Friday and another one on Saturday. And by Sunday night, Fox Searchlights made an offer that, you know, was 3 times the budget.
Wow.
And they said, you know, you have to agree to it before the midnight screening on Sunday or the deal's off. And so we did. And then there you go. You know, it made for 1.2. It made 20 in the theaters and 90 on home video.
Yeah, I was going to say that thing took off like wildfire when it came out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we were lucky that DVDs were for sale at the time and people bought them. So there's a lot of money that was in the system then.
It's funny you articulated the viewing, because that was my theater when I saw it. You know, I remember it so clearly. So how did that feel? You know, and also, how are you for time? Because I want to get to the other stuff. I don't want to take up all, you know.
Well, I mean, we could do it again.
I'd love to, if you're okay with that. You know,
I'm okay doing it again.
Right,
I'm back.
What's up, Jay? How you doing?
Doing great.
So we were talking about, you know, Supertroopers and the success of the DVD sales. And so I'm so curious, you know, because you went on this incredible ride of getting it made and all the crazy channels upon which it all came together. And also you spoke earlier about, you know, representation and it being the doctor, maybe in ER, things like that. How did things change for you, both as a director and as an actor, after the movie came out?
Well, you know, Hollywood talks a lot about, and they always have, not always, but at the time, you know, they talk about diversity.
Yeah.
But the truth about diversity is, you know, you need writers from different backgrounds in order to get the true picture of what the country looks like. And it doesn't mean that because I'm Indian, I have to write a story about Indians.
Yeah.
It just means that I could write a character that was Indian, that had this voice, but still had that perspective of being whatever, brown,
Yeah.
right? Which isn't a perspective of victimhood. It's not, oh, my life's so hard. It's just, you know, it's just like I have made jokes about my friends, and I have made jokes about race, you know, without being directly mean our whole lives.
Yeah.
People make jokes about, they make Indian jokes, and, you know, like, I don't make a ton of racial jokes, to be honest with you, but I don't mind when people make Indian jokes sometimes if they're
Yeah.
good ones. I don't care.
Especially
So
like doing stand up, I'm sure,
sure,
yeah.
whatever. But the question is really like, how did it change? So it didn't really change a great deal for a long time. I had to go and make several more movies before people said, I guess he could play anything.
And
Like I said this before. I don't know if I said this to you, but like we're all waiting for, if you're waiting for Hollywood to go, oh, that guy, let's put him in a
yeah,
bunch of stuff. It's never going to happen,
don't I know?
right? It's not that it's never going to happen. It's just at the time it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
After me, and I jokingly, not jokingly, call myself the Indian Jackie Robinson of American comedy.
Yeah.
Because after me, Aziz came and
Asif Manvi,
Asif,
yeah.
they all came, and
Yeah.
a lot of them said to me, thank you for pushing that door open.
Yeah.
But they do get hired. I mean, and by the way, all of them are writers. They're all very smart about making sure they write their own opportunities. But some of them get cast in
Yeah.
stuff now, and it's great. But it wasn't like that really for me. Now I get offers for things which I mostly turn down because I'm like, I don't know if I want to say that.
Yeah.
Like once you get the opportunity or create the opportunity to say the lines to write the lines you say on screen, it becomes a little harder to just jump into somebody's thing unless it's good writing. There was my friend Natalie Morales did a movie, and I played a pharmacist who didn't want to give this Indian girl the Plan B abortion pill.
Very relevant.
Yeah, but it's a funny comedy, and they wrote it really well. It was the guys who wrote Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Oh, love that.
They're great writers, and so I did that, and it was fun, right? But I mean, it's got to, you don't want to be in a movie when you're me, at least, where you're like, I don't know, it was okay. I don't really want to do that. I want everybody to watch everything I do and go, oh, at least go, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
which you're very celebrated for, I mean, and you wear 3 different hats. You got the writing, the directing, and the acting. Was it always
the editing?
And the editing, was it always imperative for you walking away from, the impossible boulder up the hill of Supertroopers to keep doing it? Or did you ever just want to like settle into one? Or was it always like, I want to do it all?
I have this mentality that is, it's a fear that they're going to stop me from doing one of them. And so I figured if I can do all 4 of them, if they don't let me act for a little bit, then I can write. If they don't let me write, I can direct. If they don't let me direct, I can edit. So nobody's trying to kick me out of show business, even though I'm convinced they are. But it's the mentality that gets me going. Now, the reality of making movies is all those 4 jobs are critical to telling the joke the way you want to tell it. If I think of a joke in a movie and I need to write it in the right rhythm, I need to shoot it and photograph it the right way with the right lens at the right angle with the right person in it, and then I need to edit it so that I choose the right take. Of course I need to act in it so I can say it exactly the way I want it said. Or if someone else is going to say it, I got to help them. I hire great people, so they usually know how to say it, or they have a better way to say it. But if they don't, I'll tell them how to say it. So it's a control thing. It's like the film directors are obsessive compulsives. Like we're trying to control all of the things you see in the frame.
Yeah.
And by writing, directing, acting, and editing, you get to do that.
stamina wise, I don't know how you do it. I'm so impressed by your ability to be able to. I mean, you're a master at that.
Well, no, I mean, look, once you shoot something, right? Like once you write something.
Yeah, but that's the hardest thing in the world. I mean, you're creating something out of nothing, and you've done that successfully. I mean, over dozens of times now, and I'm just so blown away by your talent.
I appreciate that, but I mean, like, I'm just saying, once you write something, let's say you write something,
yeah.
Now it's just sitting there, and you're like, if only people could see it, they would know, right? And so then you have to shoot it, you have to get it shot, and then once you shoot it, you're like, well, you have to edit it, right? I mean, it's just this thing that rolls. You just gotta, otherwise what's the point in thinking of the joke? Nobody ever heard it.
That's so, yeah, I mean, you're making me feel like I really got to step my game up, but I'm glad to hear it. And I'm curious then, so obviously, given the Broken Lizard thing, the tribe, was it imperative that you guys stuck together? Because I know you did Beer Fest, Club Dread, amongst many others, like, was that what you guys wanted to keep, with all your friends? You mentioned earlier that Kevin Hefferman was kind of reluctant, and then this thing became the funniest. I mean, especially you said DVD sales, but, it took off like wildfire, at least in my,
we're better. We're all perfectly funny, good people, performers individually, but there's a thing about our chemistry and our connection and our comedy together that elevates what we do. Now, magic happens when Broken Lizard gets together and writes these things. Magic.
Yeah.
And it's because we're so relaxed with each other and so willing to say things that probably don't work, but somebody can fix it and go, well, that's a pretty good idea, but this would be better. Oh, that's great. And it just goes and goes and goes. Now, the reality of these movies is they're weird. They're weirdly structured. There are 5 leads sometimes. And you're like, they're not normal movies, right? So while it is a blast to write and direct, it is not always the most fun to act because you have 5 guys in the scene. You don't have a whole scene for yourself. And so but the end result is we're creating things that we're really proud of and we think are good. And so far people seem to like them. So
yeah, we love them.
So we'll keep doing them. We all are trying. You look like this guy's Kevin Heffernan, by the way, and Steve Lemmy, and Paul Soder are all doing this Tacoma FD, and they have meteor scenes where they can act and say most of the lines. So like that is making them happy. I know it, and it's a good show. So. We're all trying to do that too, but we keep getting together. They keep asking us to make more movies as Broken Lizard. So who am I to say no?
Yeah. And Hassie Harrison's a friend and she's on that show, and they're incredible. And so then I'm curious for you, we have to touch upon the episodic, when did that, was that something you were always interested in, directing episodes of television, or did that kind of just, how did that?
I made a film. First film is called Puddle Cruiser about college at Colgate University, and then NBC saw that at Sundance and asked us to star in and make a pilot for them. And we thought, we're 25, 26. We shouldn't be in a college show because if it succeeds, we'll be 32 by the time we're supposed to be 22. And we thought, let's hire some other people to be in it.
Yeah.
And so we wrote it and we cast it. We were so stupid. We just said no to NBC starring in the show. And they still almost put it on the air. I mean, they came really close. I was in the president of NBC's office at like 25, and he goes, I don't know. He goes, what am I going to do? Turn $50 million over to you to do a whole season? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I don't know.
My God.
And he was probably right.
Yeah.
And we probably should have been in it, right? Maybe if we
Yeah.
had been in it, probably would have been different.
Yeah.
That said, it died. It was passed on. It never went anywhere. 2 years later,
And no pilot was shot, or
well, we shot the pilot.
oh wow, okay.
I mean, there was a youth quake at NBC that was like, we have to put this on. Didn't happen. But 2 years later, I got a call and said, this guy Judd Apatow wants to see you. And I'm like, well,
holy shit.
Judd Apatow, I was a fan because I think Larry Sanders Show is the greatest show of all time, comedy. And so I ended up going down to his set. It's called North Hollywood, and I met him. And he goes, I saw this pilot you did called Safety School. And I was like, yeah. He goes, fucking great. Should have put it on. Yeah. NBC fucked up. And he goes, but since they didn't put it on, I made my version of it. It's called Undeclared. And he goes, do you want to direct? And I said, yeah, sure. So I directed 4 of those. Then Fox was, they liked the work I did, I guess. And so they said, hey, we come do this show, Arrested Development. So I did, and I was in early on that show, like in the
remember you did like 4 episodes, right?
Yeah, but I did them in the early episodes. So I got to be part of sort of shaping the rhythm of that show. And the Russo brothers did this great pilot, which they won an Emmy for. But then we kind of slowed it down a little, and we just did some different things. Those guys are incredible, the Russo brothers. But the I was able to. It's fun to be part of a show when you're early, because you're like, you could shoot it this way, or you could shoot it from, you could shoot these lenses instead. And it wasn't like I was like the inventor of the look of. I wasn't. I just got to be creatively involved early. That's all I'm saying.
Because temporally, usually a show sticks to whatever the pilot is visually and aesthetically.
The pilot for that show was cut more quickly than the show ended up. The show settled into a more into a rhythm with fewer cuts, and it kind of settled into its own comedy rhythm in a different way than I think the pilot presented. Of course, they won an Emmy for that pilot. I'm not going to, but it was just like, it was more of a let the actors create the rhythm thing, is what the show eventually became, I thought. And so I got ants. Motherfucking ants. I hate to kill animals, but when they crawl on me, I'm like, that's enough, guys.
Yeah, same.
Enough.
Dealing with rats in New York City.
So anyway, so once I did that, then then you're like, Fox was like, well, that guy seems to get our comedies, so they just put me on a New Girl, and and then somehow I jumped over to Community and Happy Endings, and then I was over at ABC for a while. And I mean, I've been at all these networks, and they just kind of use you over and over and over again if they like what you do. I
mean, you've done like, what is it, 25 episodes of the Goldbergs? I
don't know the number of it, but it's something like that. I think that number, I think I've directed the second most after this good friend of mine, Lou Schneider. And then David Katzenberg is the other guy who's directed a lot.
And I apologize for interrupting, but I'm curious, do you enjoy that process, particularly when it's not something you wrote or you had,
I love it.
You do? Wow.
Well, it's like there's a person who they wrote a script, and you examine it and you go, okay, I get that joke. I see why you're doing there. Okay, great. And you're like, oh, we could, when we shoot it, we'll do an alt and do this joke instead. We'll shoot the joke you wrote, but okay. And we could do a little run around this, and you just kind of go. And you just go, okay, I'm going to take what you wrote, make it great, hand it to you, and you need to pat me on the head when it's done. Tell me you like it. Or not. I mean, but I'd like to know if they like it.
Yeah, everyone, we're artists. We like feedback.
That's right.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then I'm curious then, while it sounds like this kind of whirlwind of episodics happened, creatively, how are you able to maintain, writing Broken Lizard, directing features, like, was it, I mean, I'm so impressed by the stamina. I can't say that enough.
It's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a day job. This is my day job. So this is what I do. Like, this is what they send me checks to do. They're like, do this for us. And so, it's, I mean, I'm writing a novel here. I'm almost done with it. I'm going to finish it probably tomorrow. This is the 9th draft of it, and there are ants crawling all over it.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, you have to compartmentalize, and then once you get within the end game on something, like I'm going to finish this novel tomorrow, then you got to kill it. You got to pounce on it and murder it and kill it and then send it off.
Wow.
You can't, having too many projects that are open-ended is a problem.
Yeah.
Like as soon as this novel's finished, I'm gonna be like, oh, finally I can go write that golf movie I want to write.
Yeah. That's incredible. And I'm so proud and blown away at your ability to be able to do that. At what point then did things start to, you mentioned Supertroopers, there was a delayed thing from the studios. When did the interest start to garner for, other studios, if not Fox?
Well, after Supertroopers, Fox Searchlight made Club Dread with us. That bombed theatrically, but it has made a lot of money for them on home video. And then we were in the woods for a little bit. And then Warner Brothers called me and asked if I would make Dukes of Hazzard.
Wow.
And I said,
with Knoxville, right?
Yeah. I said, no, I'm not making that movie. And they were like, well, we want it to feel like Supertroopers. I'm like, yeah, I love Dukes of Hazzard, but I'm not making the movie. And
what was the reason, if you don't mind sharing?
I didn't like the script.
Okay. Fair enough.
And so 3 months later, they sent me a new script and they doubled the offer. And I was like, nah, I don't really like it. And 3 months later, they sent me a new script and they doubled it again. And I said, so what's going to happen? You're just going to keep doubling it? They're like, we have more money than you have the will to say no. And I said, you're right. Okay. So I said, if I can take this whole thing and throw it out and rewrite it with Broken Lizard, I'll do it. And they said, great. So then I said, I got one condition. We got to hire Burt Reynolds and Willie Nelson. And the guy goes, to play the Duke boys? And I said, no, but I would see that movie.
Me too. I was like, where's that draft?
And then, we kind of went through it and I tried to get as many real Southerners in the movie as possible. And Sean William Scott is from the North, but Knoxville, Willie Nelson, Burt Reynolds,
Jessica Simpson,
Dave Koechner, and put them all in there.
Yeah.
And I was happy. I'm happy with how it turned out. I love it.
Was that your first foray into a major studio film?
Major studio. Yeah. I mean, Club Dread was a major studio. It was an independent studio, I suppose, but it's a Fox. It's on the Fox lot, like it was the club. But Warner Brothers was the first time, that was a $55 million movie. That was we had 25 General Lees. We bought 50 cop cars from the Batman movie, Chris Nolan's movie, and then trashed every one of them. None of them were working. They were just done.
Oh, dummy cars. Got it.
No, they were real cars. We just crashed them. We crashed them and crashed them and crashed them. And we had a 24-hour garage working, and in the daytime we'd dent up and crash up the General Lees, and at night we'd fix them up and roll them back out again the next day and put them back in the stunt machine.
Wow. I think they're still on the Warner Brothers lot because I've seen it before. We
left New Orleans, Louisiana with two working General Lees. They offered me one of them, and I was like, guys, I live in Hollywood.
Oh my God!
I don't think I can drive this car around. I don't think it'll work. And they were like, okay. So I took a smashed up General Lee door, which I hang on my office.
I love that.
It's in storage, but I have it on my office wall.
For those, there's obviously the Confederate flag on it.
The Confederate flag on
it. But I guess Trump, that motherfucker. I won't even get in that. But so then, obviously, you mentioned earlier this beautiful moment of being an extra on the set with, Tom Cruise and Paul Newman and wanting to be in these conversations. Was there ever a moment in your life where it finally hit you like, holy shit, I'm here?
Yes. I did have that realization. It was, you feel it I still feel it. Like when I'm in a private conversation with Johnny Knoxville on the set of Dukes of Hazzard and Sean William Scott and Willie Nelson, and we're laughing our asses off about some bullshit joke that one of us made. I'm like, I'm in it. Here I am. I'm right in this fucking conversation. And we're not even talking about the movie, but we're just having a great time. And sometimes you are talking about the movie, but it's like, I'm really appreciative of the fact that I get to do that. I get to do that.
And I take it then that was how the Jackass 2 thing happened.
Yeah.
You guys had worked together, obviously that segment.
That's right.
That's incredible.
That was quite a gift to be able to be in Jackass in one of those movies. That was like, that's special to me.
Do you mind? I mean, I love them, and I did no disrespect, but I'm so curious. What about that?
Well, I was in Supertroopers, right? And that's special. Like that's a thing you get to be in. It's like somebody who was in Caddyshack or Animal House. Like I'm in Supertroopers, right? So to get to be in someone else's thing without any effort, but just did my thing. But to be in something that is iconic as Jackass, I mean, what a gift, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what a gift.
The best sketch of arguably all the films,
I've heard Knoxville say that, and I beg to differ because I love so many of their things, but
true.
But they're if they I think what was so exciting to them was it was like a long form con and everybody was in it. And I was really like, it felt like you were in The Sting. And so in that sense, there was like a lot of thought that went into it. Yeah. And there were cops and there was all sorts of shit that went on. So I guess, I'm just great. If they, whoever says their favorite, that's great.
It's my favorite, hands down. Yeah.
I like when the guy goes into the toilet shop and takes a dump in it.
Oh man, Dave England.
He's reading the fucking newspaper. You're like that. You're like, wow.
Oh God, man. Be hard to pull off in today's world, or maybe not. I don't know.
No,
it could go either way.
Those guys will do it.
But I'm so curious then for you. Obviously, like some time had gone by. We're kind of moving along. You've done episodics. Beer Fest happened because I'm doing this purely to get to Easter Sunday. So you've done all this incredible work, and just because of time, I would love to have you back one day. And we can dig into the middle parts because I'm moving a quite big chunk here. But to get to something like Easter Sunday and something that's so specific culturally, honors it, and is so, comedy driven with so many different legends, Tia Torella, Joe Coy, was that something that was always on your mind? Did Joe come to you? Did you go to Joe?
Like during the pandemic, Steven Spielberg watched a Netflix special with Joe Coy in it, and he said, we got to make a movie with that guy. So his head of production called me and said, what do you know about Joe Coy? And I said, I love him. And he goes, do you want to make his first movie? I said, yeah. So I went up to Vancouver. We had a script there. I hired a friend of mine, Kate Angelo, to come in and rewrite the whole thing. We rewrote it sort of based on, the original script had some elements of Joe's life in it for sure, and some of his stand-up in it as well. And we kind of rewrote it, made it much more of a pure comedy, and plucked some of the great things from his stand-up routine and put them in and sort of brought them to life. And the movie, the goal for us was to try to make a really funny movie that happened to have Filipinos and Filipino Americans in it. It's an American comedy.
It is.
Which is reflective of the reality of the country, right? So there are all sorts of pockets of different people in this country, and it's just a movie that is funny on its own with these people in it. So, and to me, that is what diversity should be. Make like a commercially funny movie and just put different people in it.
Totally.
Like it's not a movie about the Filipino struggle.
No. And it becomes so much more real for just like, this is a truthful, like a literal holiday, but like just moments of this guy's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you did that with Steven, and this is before the pandemic, or
well, I shot it during the pandemic.
Okay.
In Vancouver, and then the film is in theaters now. So
Yeah.
if you want to see it, you can go see it. And
by Universal.
Universal Pictures. Yeah. I mean, we're excited. And I'll tell you the other thing I did during the pandemic is, years ago when Supertroopers came out in the theater, we were the toast of Sundance, right? But then it comes out in the theater, and the reviewers gave it a 36% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. But the reviewer who reviewed it for the New York Times also didn't like The Hangover years later, and I'm like, well, maybe you don't like R-rated movies.
Yeah.
And they tee off on comedies, and I think the problem is they're not movies they wanted to see. Right, they're just assigned them, or they decide, okay, I'll review
with
this
their
comic,
MFAs
and I'll trash it because the meaner I am, the better, more review followers I'll get, and that's just not. It just didn't sit right with me. I'm like, really, reviewers are just strangers, right? They're just strangers with good jobs writing about movies, and I'm like, when's the last time you walked up to a stranger and said, hey, what movie should I see? Like, it's just not. It's not what we do, right? Yeah. You talk to your friends and your family and your buddies and whatever. And Rotten Tomatoes, which is named for throwing rotten fruit at people like me, is 90 strangers, all aggregated opinions. I'm like, who walks up to 90 strangers and said, hey, should I see this movie or this movie?
Or who cares?
Nobody cares, right? Yeah. So I'm not saying there aren't good reviewers. Of course there are.
Yeah.
But I don't know them. I don't know if they went to college. I don't know if they smoke weed. I don't know if they like R-rated movie. I don't know any of it, right? So I decided to build a machine to eventually supplant Rotten Tomatoes, and I started sketching out an app, and the app is called Vouch Vault, and it's on the App Store now, and it's in the Android store. And me and these two guys, Eli and Eric, we built this machine. And it's basically the Instagram of recommendations. And so if you go to Vouch Vault and you follow me, Jay Chanrasekhar, you'll see that I like Reservoir Dogs. You'll see that I like the Rolling Stones, Let It Bleed. You'll see that I like the Beatles' White Album. You'll see that I like Teru Sushi in Studio City, that I like the Tesla car, these golf clubs. Anything you like, you put it in there. You vouch for it.
Yeah.
And you end up, what we're going to try to do is create we have millions of people on there. We'll be like, okay, we'll have screenings for the Vouch Vault people. And so when the reviews come out, there'll be a Vouch Vault score, and people will be like, these friends of mine have seen this movie.
Right.
And, that's who you want to know. Like if you follow me and I tell you these 10 great movies you got to see, you'll be like, well, he's made some movies and I trust him. I'm going to see these movies.
Curated by people you respect.
Yeah, if your best friend and you and a couple other friends get on it, you're like, hey, we like this movie and I love this TV show, and this, it's got a list in it. So if I've recommended something to you or on my thing and you haven't seen it yet, you click a ribbon and it goes into your Tri Vault, right?
Yeah.
And so later on Friday night, you're like, what should we watch? You're like, oh, I'll look in my Tri Vault and you'll see, oh, Barry, I haven't seen that yet. Jay said it was good. Boom, you're watching it. So it's I'm trying to change the way we sort of take in movies, particularly comedies and horror movies, because they get just smashed. I'm trying to change that dynamic. And so I built this machine.
And that's so beautiful. And I love that. And I've heard rumors that it might expand to restaurants and
oh,
food
yeah,
as
you
well.
Can do restaurants already. It's already got restaurants. It's already got books. It's got podcasts. Anything you like, it's all right in there.
Vouch
Seal,
Vault.
The singer Seal just signed up.
No way.
It's fucking cool.
I'm gonna get right on it. Vouch Vault and Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
Jay, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This has meant the world. I'm sorry that things got a little crazy, but I really appreciate it. You're a true artist, and I look up to you so much. And thank you for inspiring and giving back. I ask everyone the same final question, and if you don't mind answering it, it's quick, but I know it's a hard one. For all the artists struggling now, coming out of a pandemic and feeling, like they have no idea how to start, you know? What would you say, if anything?
Well, the reality is we're really just apes, right? And we're trying to make other apes feel, laugh, cry, whatever. The thing that makes you, the ape, laugh and cry are the things that make other apes laugh and cry. So stick to that. Think about what it is that makes you laugh, and then see, as you write it down, how you can communicate it to the other people, and be simple with it. Like if it makes you laugh, it's going to make somebody else laugh, probably, unless you're a total weirdo. If it makes you feel, it's probably going to make other people feel. I mean, there's nothing, that's simple advice. But the other thing to do is you got to make stuff. Yeah. Like you're just thinking about it, or just, oh, I should do that. Okay. Well, while you think about it and don't do it, I'll be doing it. Yeah. And you'll be reacting to my stuff instead of me reacting to your stuff. It's not easy. It's not an easy fucking business. But the big barrier most people have is that they don't do it. Yeah. And there's no excuse now with the cameras and the mics, and it's all out there. It's all right there for you.
I could not agree more. And thank you for that wisdom. I really appreciate it. And thank you for coming on. I would love to do this again one time where we can flesh out the middle, because you're so prolific and I have so much respect for you and gratitude for your time.
The next movie,
let's do it.
Vouchful is Quasi, and it's coming out probably in the springtime
awesome.
on Hulu.
Amazing.
It's a Broken Lizard movie set in 13th century France. I play the King of France. Paul Soter plays the Pope. Steve Lemmy plays the Hunchback.
I cannot wait. That sounds divine, and sounds
like a Python movie.
And this is you're about to embark on a golf movie as well. That's the next thing you said.
I got to write it.
Well, congratulations on the novel. Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving back, and I would love to see you in the spring. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
Bye now.
All right. Bye.